Forecast like it's been all evening with the storms rumbling through here. And the Nats plus 78 on the run differential. 480 runs for, 402 against. Anthony Rendon, 80 runs scored this year. And that is the top figure in the National League. And the Upton brothers homered in the same game 5 times after they did it last night. Here come the Nats hitting .250. They're 5th in the league in runs. Wilson Ramos hit one of the longest home runs of his career last night. So now, 27 games off the DL. He's been hitting .324 with 4 home runs and 16 batted in. He's 1 for 2 against Aaron Harang. And of course, a late scratch was Jason Worth, was to bat 3rd. So pretty much the same lineup as the Nats went with last night, except Franzen in there and not Steven Souza Jr. as the starter. Aaron Harang, 119 and 122 in his big league career.
You know, not going to overpower you. He's a pitcher that's going to throw any pitch in any count. Fastball averaging 89 miles an hour, slider 81. He'll cut the fastball, and curveball at 74, changeup at 84. But he really gets that downhill plane. If he's down in the zone early, you'll know he's going to have a good outing. Nats hitters game plan against him, probably try to get him up in the zone. 24th start of the year for Harang, 9-6 record. The ERA at 3.41, and his last start was on the 3rd against San Diego. Got a no decision, 6 innings, a 5-hit ball, gave up 2 runs. And he has not factored in his last 4 decisions, so he's had a lot of hang with him outings.
Yeah, not pitching as deep as he had been before.
There's the defense for the Braves behind Harang in Game 2 of this series. Upton, Hayward, the outfield. Bonifacio, Johnson, left side. LaStella, Freeman, right side. And Evan Gattis behind the plate.
Greg Gibson, 16-year veteran, has the plate. The crew chief is Jerry Davis over at third base. Phil Cuzzy across from him at first. Will Little, rookie member of the umpiring crew. Aaron Harang, 2-4 career in 10 starts against the Nationals. It's 10:51 for first pitch tonight.
Get comfy and snuggle up with us. Watch a good game. I'll tell you what, you just stick this one out coast to coast. You get the red badge of Natitude tonight. How about that?
All right. Denard Span, 3rd in the league in hits with 133. 341 on the rain delay. This field took a tremendous amount of water, but it was amazing to us after seeing the puddles all over the outfield, how they disappeared within about a half hour after the rain eased off a bit. 0-2 to Span, who's been on base 34 games in a row. And against Harang, 0 for 2 career with a walk. Looks the breaking ball all the way in, 1-2. So over that hit streak, 21 hits in 41 at-bats. Hardly enough room on graphics these days for Denard Span. 398 since the 1st of July. Runs, doubles, average, stolen bases. You name it, he's doing it.
Top 10 in the National League in all those categories.
That one a little closer, and Span protecting on 2-2.
I mean, honestly, if he keeps doing what he's doing the rest of August and into September, and the Nats win the National League East, he'll get some consideration for, you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
National League MVP. Why not?
You're maybe the first to broach that subject, but I like it.
I'm not afraid to go out there.
2-2. Target in. Got him on the hands. Is it playable for Chris Johnson? No. Right to the edge of the Nats dugout roof.
It's late on a Saturday night. I have no idea what subjects I might broach for the first time tonight. Hopefully, it's talking about some good baseball.
Two again. Holds on way too long. Counts full. Inside the numbers from Jeep. Swings that miss. Denard Span makes contact more than everybody else right now.
It's impressive.
8th pitch of the at-bat coming. And this one out to left center. That's the way they had him played. B.J. Upton didn't have to go that far. But a good at bat. And Denard Span gave his teammates a long look at how Aaron Harang is throwing so far.
You know, a lot is said about Atlanta sports fans in a negative sense, but I have to give the Braves fans credit tonight. You usually don't see this many fans stick out a 3-hour rain delay, but there's a nice crowd here at Turner Field. Second place, first place, big matchup tonight. They stuck around.
As I mentioned last night, Braves are 10th in attendance in the National League. 29,382 their average. Had fireworks here last night. And Cabrera goes up hacking. It's been pretty solid, as Drupal has, from this side of the plate in a Washington uniform, 6 for 19. He's driven in 3 runs. One of those last night, right before the Rendon home run. He's faced Aaron Harang 5 times without a hit. That takes care of that. Nice swing going the other way. And the Nats are onto something here with a guy 7 for 20 now from this side of the plate.
Well, at 10:56, I believe this is the latest I've ever said there goes a no-hitter, but there goes a no-hitter. As Drupal Cabrera, nice swing. Just talking about it, Carp, on cue. How nice he's looked from the left side. Little line drive single to left field. First knock of the night. I might say it again after midnight, too. First knock of tomorrow.
Here's Rendon. Well, maybe he can bust up an 0 for 5 against Harang. Anthony hit the ball hard last time. That laser to center field, Upton caught, that would have tied the game had it been able to drop in or be off to the side. The 3-run homer before that. So moving from 2 to 3, suiting him just fine. Big time rip. Harang left 87 up.
I'll tell you what, that was impressive in a lot of ways. I mean, it was game on. It brought it within 3 runs, made it a 7-4 ball game. But through the rain, I mean, balls don't carry when it's raining that hard. Watch Jason Worth with the jump shot with the helmet. Keep an eye on that for the rest of the year. There's rumors there might be some dunks coming up.
Just wonder if Mike Wallace is rethinking his helmet order for the rest of the season.
Oh, hey, I've seen what those helmets go through in the tunnel. Actually, I've tested a few.
tunnel walls and helmets.
A jump shot that lands on the dugout floor is not
a big deal.
Not a big deal.
Okay. Rendon, by the way, getting up there in some categories. He is 9th in the league in runs batted in now with 65 after that blast last night. First in runs, 51 extra base hits. That's in the top 5. 31 doubles in the top 5.
That's weird about that stat right there. Every other guy on there was an all-star. Huh.
Somebody missed the boat on this guy.
Strange.
Rendon jacks one left field corner, hooking. Look at that. Look out in the bullpen, guys. Serious hook on a screaming line drive. Stammen and Blevins okay. And Matt LeCroy was getting out of dodge.
That was a long ugly finder right there. Look how far this one goes. Tried to stay inside of it. Very rarely do you see an Anthony Rendon line drive down the left field line hook. He usually does a great job. Look out. They're getting inside of it. Jerry Blevins excited. They're ready. They got their chairs turned upside down there just in case a lion gets loose in the bullpen. They're ready. Something going on back there.
And a 1-2. Rendon off the end of the bat. It will be caught by Jason Hayward. Because he didn't hit it that hard, Rendon's line drive had a chance to drop, and Jason Hayward just wouldn't let it. This guy's playing some serious baseball.
Well, in my mind, the best defensive right fielder in baseball. No offense to everybody else, but he just is so smooth out there, whether he's throwing with his tremendous arm or making diving plays. The way he plays the carom off the wall, everything he does out there is smooth. And Jason Hayward taking a knock away from Anthony Rendon in a 1st and 3rd situation. Aaron Harang, golf clap, appreciates it.
Yeah, Hayward 7 assists this year. There's Adam LaRoche. He has faced Harang 36 times. And on the 37th one, a fly ball to Upton. So the Nats had a couple of good swings in the 1st inning. Takes a long time to get those first 3 outs in the book. And now it's Tanner Roark against Atlanta. Game, 4th career start against Atlanta, and the lineup he faces 9th in the league in batting, 3rd from the bottom in runs, 8th in home runs, and they showed you last night when they swing hard the ball can go a long way, including Tommy La Stella, who hit his first major league home run last night, and it turned out to be the game winner. Didn't know it at the time when he left the yard for a 7-0 lead leading off the 5th inning. Roark brings his arsenal against the Braves.
Yeah, fastball, slider, curveball change. Fastball 64% of the time at 91 miles an hour. Keep an eye on the early sink of the 2-seamer. Sets everything else up for Roark.
B.J. Upton goes up hacking, slams it off the screen in front of the Nats dugout.
Yeah, last start he took the 7-3 loss Monday against the Orioles. 6 1/3, 7 hits, 5 runs. Gave up a couple of home runs, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, 90 pitches. Might have been a byproduct of 5 straight starts of 7 innings for Roark. Kind of hit the wall after the 6th inning last time out.
Yeah, did you see what Baltimore did to St. Louis again today at Camden Yards? That ball club got hot Monday night against the Nats, and they put 10 more on the board today.
Might be the best team in baseball.
Ooh, they're 5 up on the Yankees, even though both won today. B.J. Upton, 2 for 8 career against Tanner Roark with a target away. Got it up and in with 90 and struck him out. B.J. Upton, 144th strikeout of the year.
Well, we talked about it in the open about 7 hours ago that it's imperative for Tanner Roark to throw some balls tonight. If you throw it right where the Braves swing, and I know this sounds like a simplistic approach, they're going to crush the baseball. Each one of these guys has a little contact zone that they swing to normally. And they're not really good at making adjustments. So if Tanner Roark is able to get ahead and then throw balls tonight that look like strikes, he'll have a great night.
Tommy La Stella hitting .288. A rookie, sort of revelation for them at second base. Coming from Gwinnett, where he hit .293 in 47 games. Pretty much spelled the end of Dan Uggla's time here. That's a great changeup. Had him way out ahead. Ball hits right near or on the bag. LaRoche takes it, 2 down.
Well, we had a last-minute lineup change at, what, about 6:30, Carl?
It was about an hour before the game.
Yeah, Jason Worth scratched in right field. His shoulder hurting, his knee barking. He takes the night off, and Kevin Franzen in left, Bryce Harper in right. I'm telling you, not a good sign if Jason Worth is missing 2 games against the Braves, because he's a tough customer.
Freddie Freeman takes a strike. Freddie Freeman, .284. On base percentage over .370, right behind Adam LaRoche in that department. Upstairs, Roark changing eye levels, and it looks like a nearly 4-hour sit is not bothering him.
Well, you got to elevate against Freeman. That's where you get him out.
Shows him the nasty slider down and in.
He has that swing where his barrel drops, and you see him get to like sliders down and in like no other lefty. When that barrel drops, it can't get to a high fastball.
1-2. Takes the changeup and fades it outside. Freeman 3 for 9 career against Tanner with a double. Nats play him to pull, but not a ton. He uses the whole field. That time he hooks it into the right field corner. Bryce Harper wants to launch one to second here. Could be close. And Freeman in under the throw. Bryce Harper, strong throw to at least make it reasonable at second base.
Well, he tried to elevate right here to Freddie Freeman, but just didn't get it up high enough. Letter high or above is where the outs are with Freddie, so he gets on top of that one. An absolute cannon by Bryce Harper. I'm kind of wondering why Ian Desmond didn't put the tag on Freddie Freeman. You never know with instant replay right now if a guy's foot pops off the bag, so you keep the tag on him. You never know.
Double number 31 and his 51st extra base hit. Justin Upton will be next. Here's a guy with 48 extra base hits, including his 20th home run last night. His was the one in the first inning that set the tone for Atlanta. 2 for 9 career against Tanner Roark. Target in. It was a late adjustment by Ramos to get in there. Pitch low, 2-0.
You know, that tag play right now, it's almost like in the NFL when they went to replay, and if the knee's down before you fumble, how they never used to call those fumbles anymore, and now they call them. You keep a tag on somebody nowadays with instant replay, and the foot just comes off the bag for a second, and somebody in the clubhouse sees that, you have a chance to get an out. It's something that you really haven't worked on your whole career. It's something you're not in the habit of doing, but you never know if somebody's foot hits the bag, pops up, you have the glove on them, and there's no contact with the base. Not the case there. I'm just saying in general.
Two one. Goes with a breaking ball. Ball out, said Greg Gibson. 3-1. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
When you hear umpires scream it like that, that's telling everybody that can hear that it was close. And it looked like it was more than close on the Mercedes-Benz pitch track.
Roark fastball missing away. He doesn't walk many. 107 strikeouts this year. That's his 31st walk in 142 innings. Runners on right now. They're only hitting .230 against him. There is a runner in scoring position. The number goes down a little more. And with 2 outs, it goes way down. Hayward, Roark, an interesting matchup. 2 walks. But the left-handed slugger 0 for 6 against the Nats pitcher.
Small strike zone right now for Gibson. Roark not missing by much.
Not exactly what we'd expect after a long delay. .92 with a little swing back to it. Hayward on a 5-game streak, 10 for 20. Up the middle, that's where Desmond's playing. Nats had him positioned perfectly. 10 in a row arc, a double, a walk. Here comes Desmond, Harper, and Ramos. Ian, our Honda duo. 2 for 13 career against Aaron Harang, looking for his first base hit of the series. Desmond. And then another slugger, Harper and Ramos.
Scoreless ball game heading top 2. Last night, the Nationals dropped a ball game 7-6, but asking around the clubhouse earlier today whether that 6-run comeback that they made to make it a ball game was significant in any way or whether it was just another loss, the vast majority of guys in the clubhouse said that that comeback did mean something. Scott Hairston said it leaves a better taste in your mouth, A, and it puts something in the minds of the Braves as well, telling them that no lead is safe. Jerry Blevins said if there's such a thing as a productive loss, that was it. And Matt Williams said to battle 13 innings on Thursday against the Mets and get a win, then battle back from 7-0 yesterday. It says something about this team, and they were really happy with the way they scratched and clawed to get back into that ball game.
Yeah, you put Thursday, Friday, and now the rain delay together tonight. Interesting 3-day sequence. Dan's report brought to you by AFCEA, the Association for Global Security Professionals.
You know, usually hear something like that as Bruce Harper steps in for his first at-bat. It sounds like spin control. But that's not the case. You know, adding to what Dan said, I talked to 3 or 4 guys in the clubhouse that said the exact same thing. We're not here for moral victories. There's no such thing, but last night was one just because, you know, after 13 innings the day before, a travel day, a long rain delay, down by 7. We fought, we battled back, and it's definitely something you can build on. There's no doubt about it.
Right now, the Braves are pitching Bryce Harper off speed a lot, disguising fastballs with changeups. He did walk in 4 trips last night, a couple of Ks swinging, fly ball to left. And he's just going to flip one down the third base line. This thing hits fair, and it does. He's thinking, too. He's going to round the bag, and he didn't know Emilio Bonifacio was going to juggle the ball. So the Nats have a base hit with 1 out.
Well, take that. Hands in the right position inside the baseball. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and Bryce Harper checks in with his first knock of the night. He was thinking about 2, but you can't really anticipate Bonifacio bobbling that, but kind of turned it on late right there, and it was too late to get to second.
And not the greatest shortstop you'll ever see. In fact, Bonifacio, most of his career as a second baseman or an outfielder. There's Wilson Ramos, and that's way outside. By the way, I know on that replay, it's a little confusing. The cable that holds up the backstop is almost in perfect line with the left field line there. And had to do kind of a double take as we watched that. A lot of the ballparks have that feature. Camera looking right through the screen at balls like that. And the count's 2-0. Screen, and then you see that cable. It's a lighter color as it gets away from the screen, heading up toward the left field corner to hold it up. Some long guy wires on those things. Back to the base, Harper. Thank you, Chuck. That's the greatest shot of a backstop cable we've ever had on Massa.
Oh, yeah.
But look at the perfect parallel with the left field line.
That's Emmy stuff right there.
2-0 pitch. Ramos right off the end of the bat. Wilson 1 for 2 against Orang with a home run. Kind of look at the outfield, know how they want to pitch. Wilson Ramos, huge gap left center.
Said that home run last night meant a lot to him. His first home run as a dad.
That was very cool. I mean, this one was a country mile in Georgia.
First game back as a Papa, the Buffalo goes deep. Yeah, I would take a look at that one for a second. Said he and Desmond looking for the shot right there.
Big breaking ball just hanging upstairs. Ramos couldn't get to it. Harang first strikeout. 2 down.
Yeah, it didn't really do a whole lot, did it? Kind of stayed up there. Wilson swung where he thought it was going to break. And that was a borderline ephus pitch by Harang.
Yeah, I was surprised it registered as high as 75. Here's Franzen. Late insertion into the lineup when Worth couldn't answer the call. And why not Kevin? He's 4 for 7 career against Harang. With a double. In the game last night, went 0 for 3, but robbed of a double by Hayward in the gap. Reached later on the error by Ramiro Pena that gave the Nats a chance to tie the game. Franzen gets under one, hits it a long way out to left center. Upton drifting near the track, makes the one-handed grab.
That was a strange route by Upton right there. I don't know if the wind had anything to do with that or the footing out there is such that he had to be very careful, but that was a weird route. Nationals season plan holders, you can renew your plans right now for 2015 and reserve 2014 postseason tickets. Season plan holders who upgrade their plans for 2015 before September 5th will also have the opportunity to receive upgraded seats for the 2014 postseason. Go to the website for more details. I see red people. Little natted dude right there, waiting it out. Way past his bedtime. He doesn't care. He's at the yard. Where else would he rather be?
Oh, bus full of our suite holders are in Atlanta this weekend. Well, there's your answer why the low strike maybe didn't go to Roark first inning. Greg Gibson has a high zone to start this one. Evan Gattis at 275, 17 home runs. Target away by Ramos. First inning for Tanner. Extended because of the Freeman double, the Upton walk. Took him 19 pitches with 11 strikes. Shows him the breaking ball, low and away. Fastball up, and that's ripped. Well, Pete talked about this last night. Gattis presents a small strike zone for a big guy, but he comes uncoiled and gets to those pitches in a hurry.
He likes the fastball up. You see where Ramos was setting up outside, and then just a little tail on that fastball. About a glove mistake, and Gattis will make you pay. Base hit.
So Nissan tracking that high fastball that ends up in left field. Braves have 3 base runners already. Here's Chris Johnson. Always, it seems, trying to shoot the ball the other way. 2 for 9 career with a double against Roark. Contact guy who hits into a lot of double plays. LaRoche short for 1. The return, well done by Roark. 17th double play of the year Johnson hits into. And the Nats team up to clear the bases. 2 outs.
All right, you're in charge of calling double plays the rest of the night. It's your official duty after that one. Nicely done. I'm giving you an assist right here. But do you see Tanner Roark? He does that from time to time. He shortens his delivery. He's not going to slide step with Evan Gattis, on first base. But he just shortened up his delivery. It got on Chris Johnson. He was late because he varies his looks.
There's Emilio Bonifacio, former Nat, former Marlin, Diamondback, Blue Jay, Royal, and Cub. Hit 279 for Chicago in 69 games before the Braves picked him up on the deadline day in a 3-player deal.
You can disrupt timing by the speed of the pitch. You can also disrupt timing by your delivery. Watch how quick he is with the lower half right here and speeding up his delivery. Just a slide step. It gets on Johnson. It surprises him. He's late and hits it to first base. That's a move you usually use when you have a base stealer, but Roark varies his looks. Almost quick pitch Johnson right there for the double play.
And he got a high strike call there on Bonifacio. As a Brave, Emilio 3 for 13 in 5 games. 29 years of age now. Signed with Arizona at the age of 16 in 2001. Just a little time with them before he came to the Nats. Way back in 08 for the big guy, John Roush. Third base, it's going to spin foul.
You know, I was thinking with the long delay here tonight, I shudder to think what the corner tap in Wilmington, Illinois is doing right now with this almost 11 o'clock start.
Well, you know, they are an hour behind us.
Dylan Roark and the boys.
We think.
On a Saturday night.
They might be an hour ahead of us.
With the corner tap. My goodness.
I see where you're going.
Yeah.
And I think the guys are having a good time.
I think it's one word: security.
They probably ordered a second round of pizzas and some
that's it.
treats to wash it down.
That's it.
Right side, Cabrera to his left. Bonifacio retired. Tanner Roark gets his 11th batter of the year to ground into a double play. No score into the third.
I want to look forward to Miller time later in the game. Well, maybe tomorrow. It's brought to you by Miller Lite.
Turner Field, Atlanta. Check in on Michael Taylor, PNC Bank, for the Achiever and You with our minor league report. 315 at AA, recently promoted. 6'3", 210. He can go get it in the outfield. He has a strong arm. 6th round pick 5 years ago.
He was scratched from the lineup tonight at Syracuse.
That sounds suspicious to me.
Well, you don't know anything official, but if Jason Worth went on the DL, or even Steve Asuza Jr., who looked fine today, that would be the guy they would call up. You'd think, based on the reports that we got, that he didn't even get to the yard today in Syracuse, is what I heard.
You're hearing things.
I hear things.
0-2 to Roark, who, by the way, is 0 for 2 career against Aaron Harang. Leads off the third. And Roark hits this ball well to right. Hayward didn't have to go far. First time around, the Nats go 2 for 9. Singles by Cabrera and Harper. Both left-handed batters, both to left field. Bernard Span, fly ball to left center first time, caught by B.J. Upton, the number 8 guy out there. And he slaps it hard the other way. I mean, good wood on that one. Jerry Davis had to move back a little bit to make the foul call. Bernard Span making great contact these days. Target in. Marlins won their game at Cincinnati earlier tonight, 4-3. They're 6 back, just 2 games under 500. And the Mets and the Phillies are in the 11th inning. New York has just scored to take a 2-1 lead. So you're up to date on the division. Nats 3.5 up on the Braves. Greg Gibson giving call, location, and count.
He's thorough. I like it. Did he say ball out and it was inside?
He said ball in.
Say, what was he doing during the break?
He doesn't have to say anything about that one. '16th year for Greg Gibson. And Span to left. Breaking back now in Upton. Justin has it. 2 down. As Drupal Cabrera lined one with authority to left field first time.
All right, folks, you know the drill. The Nats begin a weekend series against the Pirates on Friday, August 15th. The first 15,000 fans aged 21 and older receive a Nationals bottle opener cap. That's presented by Miller Lite. All right.
You've confirmed this?
I have. It's a bottle opener cap, so I got to be 21.
Got it.
If it was a golf club holder, like you said, you wouldn't have to be 21. I'll tell you what, ball's carrying to left.
Cabrera to Justin Upton. Nats go quickly, and 5 in a row for Harang in a scoreless game.
Third inning of work. Recently, Roark has started implementing a 4-seam fastball, which he threw earlier in his career, but now he's using it to go along with his 2-seamer. And for those who might not be aware, a 4-seamer is typically a straight fastball, whereas a 2-seamer has some sink or some run to it. I talked to pitching coach Steve McCatty about that today. He said that he and Roark kind of combined on the decision to work the 4-seamer in, and he said that mostly it's just about giving hitters a different look or changing things up. McCatty said that Roark can sometimes show a hitter a 4-seamer off the plate intentionally for a ball, then throw a 2-seamer that runs back over the plate. McCatty said some people see a fastball as a fastball, but the 2- and 4-seamers have different movement and can give hitters problems if they're thrown effectively.
And it's tough as a hitter to pick up the rotation. On the 4-seamer, it's just 12-6 rotation. And it's straight. On the 2-seamer, you kind of get that inside-out rotation. But it's a fastball, so you don't have a lot of time to make the decision.
You just have to make sure no matter who you are, you don't center cut that 4-seamer unless it's really got some run to it.
And, well, that's true with anybody. But as a hitter, you don't have time to decipher, is that a sinker, is that a straight one? And if you start planting doubt in the hitter's mind, that's why Tanner Roark has such a good effect with that front hit fastball. And right now, and before this inning, he's thrown 19 2-seamers and 3 4-seamers.
Two 2-0 to B.J. Upton. Struck out first time. Pretty good pitch, 91 out toward the edge, had him reaching.
his swing is such that if you throw something off speed and it's on the inner half, he can do damage. But it's one spot. You saw it last night with Steven Strasburg. He threw the curveball to Upton. It was on the inner half. It sped up his bat, and it's right into his swing. The reason he has so many strikeouts carved this year is because his swing is kind of geared up for one zone. It really doesn't adjust to the baseball as it's in or out or up or down.
144 times. 2-2. 145.
And a broken bat. And that bat did not die a hero.
2 Ks for Roark. B.J. Upton both times. His batting average is around 210 right now.
Some frustration right here from Upton. Strikes out and then slams his bat down in disgust. You could hear it break. Hairline fracture.
On the inside corner to Tommy La Stella, who bounced out to Adam LaRoche. By the way, I was handed a note. This is the latest starting time for any game in baseball this year. 9:50 local. Cincinnati hosting St. Louis back on April 2nd. So by an hour and 1 minute, the latest starting game in the major leagues this year. And as a footnote to that, the most alert announcers, at least for now.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes.
I'll be drooling on the desk. Well, hey.
Our saving grace is the Braves TV booth that has a microwave where we can heat up some food that just happened to be put away several hours ago. Roark trying to get through 3 here. Rides the fastball. There's that 4-seamer up and in.
Hey, you know who's going to be awesome tonight in the broadcast is Massive Dan. His Saturday nights usually start at 11. He's ready to rock.
Still got his tie on. Up the middle, base hit. A lot to like about Tommy La Stella. Moves the ball around, contact guy. And the Braves have their 3rd hit.
It's hard not to like a scrappy little second baseman that swings way too hard at everything and plays like there's no tomorrow. He's going to be here for a long time.
Freddie Freeman. In the air. Center field. Span drifting, waiting, catching.
Judging by just the flight of average fly balls tonight, the ball is jumping in this ballpark. Routine fly balls have gone to the track.
Top of the 4th inning. Anthony Rendon robbed of a double or more by Jason Hayward first time up. Swinging a great bat. Talking to some scouts this weekend in the ballpark. He might be the favorite Nat of a lot of people all over the big leagues. Look alive. The Metro Silver Line is now open. They bring you the upcoming schedule. Gio and Alex Wood, the ESPN Sunday night game tomorrow. Off day Monday, we go to New York for 3. And then the Pirates will be in for the weekend. They were beaten 2-1 by San Diego at home tonight. But they remain a half game up on St. Louis in the Central. But 2.5 back of Milwaukee, who won their game. Anthony Rendon robbed by Hayward first time.
I told you this before we went on the air tonight. I said if one more guy from ESPN asked me why the Nats are so bad this year, I'm going to flip out. Happened again today. He said they're 3.5 games up. Oh, they should be 10 up. Okay. Well, they're still in first place.
They should be higher than first place.
Yeah. Uncle. Really, uncle. What's the problem?
Look at the DL.
They're in first place.
2-1. That ball fading in. Harang went off speed with 84. Anthony Rendon handcuffed and took it. He's got a hitter's count. You could call this a driving the ball somewhere count as he leads off the 4th. He'll take the walk. First pass for Harang.
Yep. Pretty hitter-friendly zone so far, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Seems like borderline pitches going the way of the hitter on both sides.
He's not calling anything near the bottom of that pitch track for a strike. There's Adam LaRoche, who flew out to left first time. LaRoche 8 for 37 career against Harang. 3 doubles, 4 home runs. Adam in August 10 for 31. Got his on base percentage back up into the top 10 this weekend at 372.
You know, after last night and the way this series has gone so far this year, if you're the Nats, you just like to play out in front one time against these guys and take your chances. Score first.
Yeah. Part of the good news is they got through the first 3 innings without giving up a bunch of runs. Rendon thought about going to third. La Stella recovered well on a hot shot by Adam LaRoche. 2 on, nobody out. Nats have 3 hits.
A nice swing by LaRoche right here. Goes right back up the middle. Good effort by La Stella. I thought he was going to catch this. Tips off his glove. Rendon, like you said, Carp, thinking about it. But with nobody out, didn't want to make the first out at third. Good choice by Rendon.
Yeah. Nats this year in the first 3 innings had been outscored by the Braves 21-8. So to be in the 4th inning scoreless, solid, and here you go. Desmond went the other way first time up. He does again. La Stella gets to it. High throw. And right now, LaRoche hanging around the bag at second just in case. Bonifacio skied off the bag.
Randy Knorr going to the phone right now, and they're going to check if Bonifacio got the bag. Matt Williams on the top step. He's thinking about it. They're checking with the clubhouse to see if they should review it or not. They're doing the dance in the Nats dugout. The replay dance, as I call it. Nice play by La Stella. We'll look at it together right here. Did he come down on the bag? Yes, he did. I'm so programmed now that wherever we're sitting, Carp, on a close play, my head immediately goes to either team's dugout to see if they're going to challenge.
Here's Bryce Harper, dumped a single down the left field line, literally on the line. First time up, and he could put the Nats on top. Bryce now 5 of 9 career against Orang. Great take. As I mentioned, first time up, they've been baiting him with breaking, or rather change-ups that look like fastballs. And that time, Bryce able to make the ID to lay off. Breaking ball, foul.
There's the record when they score first, 47 and 15. So fairly big at bat right here in a 2-strike count for Bryce Harper.
Gaddis could see that one coming in short, so he was scrambling to block it.
Even though the swing hasn't been as consistent as Bryce has wanted it of late, the process is there. He's making decent decisions at the plate, and that's usually the first step.
This will slice out of play left side.
You know, as a hitter, when you start swinging at strikes and taking balls, getting into counts, that's a sign that you're close. And then the last thing to come is, you know, your consistency with your hand slot and your timing.
Pretty much everything away and down. 2-2 pitch. Harper called out. Fastball buzzed the inside corner.
Well, that's just a big time pitch from a veteran pitcher right there. The swing back fastball to Bryce Harper. Aaron Harang makes a perfect pitch when he has to. Look at that. Starts off the plate, runs back at us with a perfect frame. Good execution by the Braves with 2 strikes on Bryce Harper.
That'll bring in Wilson Ramos. Struck out swinging first time. On the run at first, Desmond. And Ian Desmond will swipe another bag. That'll be his 13th of the year.
So 18 home runs, 13 stolen bases. Getting close to that 2020 once again. Rendon looking for a throw to try to steal a run. Good pitch to go on. Curveball in the dirt.
Ramos to the right side. They keep pitching him away. Bit of a bobble there by La Stella. Plenty of time to take care of business. The Nats going to walk in a hit to lead off the inning. And they've stranded 4 already.
Freedom Fireworks on August 15th after the Nats play the Pirates. So whatever promo we do until the Nats play the Pirates is for when the Nats play the Pirates. Post-game event will feature military pageantry, patriotic theme music, U.S. Air Force Honor Guard drill team, and that game is against the Pirates. 7:05 start. Be there.
Tanner Roark, 3 innings, 45 pitches, 30 strikes. He'll face Justin Upton, Hayward, and Gaddis. Bottom 4. Handed the ball by Anthony Rendon. Justin Upton walked first time up. That was with 2 outs in the first after the Freddie Freeman double. Target in. That ball was out over the plate, but right at Cabrera goes the grounder. Best way to start an inning, a 1-pitch out to contact. Hayward and Gaddis now the next 2.
What's the word of the day? Late? No, it's ground ball. Or ground ball. Or ground ball. Text 29292 for a chance to win lunch with Matt Williams.
Don't do grounder.
Maybe he'll hit you some ground balls.
Take a little infield and have lunch. Cool. Jason Hayward hit one up the middle first time, but Ian Desmond was playing then where he's playing now and threw him out to end that 2-runner aboard threat. Right in on his hand, straight back and went.
It's so funny. These teams know each other so well. You know, almost the same characters over the last couple of years, and you get to this point in the season. It's all about executing the game plan. Both teams know how to get each other out. Both teams know where to stand on defense. But it's who executes the game plan better and who plays a cleaner game going to come out on top.
Hayward jacks one to right center. Long way to go for Span. Denard is there. He'll run it down at the edge of the track. That one looked like damage off the bat. Big gaps here. You have to have a great center fielder.
I just didn't hear the sound, though. And I think he got in on him just a hair to keep this one in the yard. And once it has that much height, you know if it's in the ballpark, Denard Span's going to catch it. You hear the sound? He didn't get it. But he didn't get it, and the balls are going to the track. As soon as someone gets one, it's going to be a far tater tonight because the ball's flying.
Here's Gaddis with a curveball missed. He got a pitch up. Base hit left field first time. Leading off the second, then Johnson erased him on a 3-6-1 double play. Good run back to the corner. He had Gaddis reaching for a good-looking breaking ball down and away. Fastball up, got him. Changing eye levels, moving things around. Tanner Roark, 3 strikeouts so far. Pitching effectively, 3 hits, a double play. Pretty strong in the first 4. He'll bat second in a moment.
Fox delivering life's most important connection. It's been a pitcher's duel. 3-hour and 41-minute rain delay. And the pitchers have dominated this one early. Aaron Harang has gotten some help from his defense. Jason Hayward with a great diving play. High curveball to Wilson Ramos. He thought it was going to break more. Kind of worked out for Harang. And then Tanner Roark has been doing his thing, attacking the strike zone with all of his pitches, getting the 3-6-1 double play. And then striking out B.J. Upton. He doesn't like wood.
Kevin Franzen made the last out of the second inning, hit the ball pretty far out to left center. Pulled in by Justin Upton out there. He got a fastball, launches another one in that direction, not too deep. Fifth inning underway. Both pitchers around the plate on the attack.
Scared to see what these look like tonight at this hour, but it's time to tweet your photo using hashtag #MASSonFanPhotos for a chance to have it shown in a future broadcast. It's brought to you by AT.
Tanner Roark hit one of the hardest balls of the night for the Nats. A drive to right caught by Hayward. 5 hits this year, 9 in his career. At 2-1, right back to the pitcher. Tanner looked back to see if his bat was still in one piece. Had a funny sound to it. And now 5 in a row for Harang since the LaRoche base hit that put 2 on, nobody out last inning.
So James Wagner from the Post is kind of confirming what we thought might happen tomorrow, that according to a person familiar with the decision, that Michael Taylor will be joining the Nats. How about that? Good news for Taylor, but I'm wondering who's going to go on the disabled list, right?
Yeah.
Jason Worth, Steven Souza Jr., and it's tomorrow today.
Denard Span not able to extend his hitting streak on Saturday. Maybe Sunday will be good. Has flied to center and to left.
22 home runs, 34 stolen bases for Taylor.
Well, talk about quickly not at AAA that long after his recent promotion. Harang has floated a few changeups well up and out of the zone. He gets the ball back from Gaddis. He's ready. Waiting for Span to get set. How'd it miss him?
Well, if you're a speedy guy and a runner, you don't want to take anything off your lower half. That's a good job of getting out of the way for Denard Span. He makes his living with his lower half. Gets to a 3-1 count.
Full count now. Well hit, left center. Another notch on the hitting streak to 13 games. On base 35 in a row. And Denard Span's going to do it with a 2-out triple here in the top of the 5th inning. 30 doubles, a home run, and triple number 6 on the year.
Well, the beat goes on for Denard Span. Interesting sequence right there. Evan Gaddis put down changeup. Aaron Harang started his motion. He changed to fastball at the last second. Harang went with the fastball. Kind of changed right there. See him change the grip late. And Span on it, splits the gap. So 35 consecutive games on base for Denard Span. And who's better than Denard right now in baseball? Let's see if they can play to run.
Denard now hitting .423 during his hitting streak.
Yeah, that's not one of those 1 for 4, 1 for 5 hitting streaks. It's got a little girth to it.
Yeah. Cabrera 1 for 2. He's gone the other way twice. Two and 0. Driven in 3 runs with the Nationals. 7 hits in 28 at bats overall.
You see how Harang he's not going to give in. 2-0 count. Goes 2-0 changeup right there.
.90, 3-1. And trying to get another base hit going that way. Nice catch by the ball boy, who knew it was not going to be called a fair ball.
Let's play lefty.
No score, top of the 5th. Nationals 4 hits, the Braves 3. And the 2-out walk will bring in Rendon.
Good at bat.
That's Harang's second pass of the night. Anthony Rendon was the man he walked last time up.
It's only a matter of time before Anthony Rendon finds himself hitting third the rest of his career. That's where you put your best hitter generally, and it might not be for a year or so, but he's going to find himself hitting there the majority of his career, I would imagine. Right man, the right spot. See if he can deliver.
Second baseman Tommy La Stella playing it pretty far up the middle. Rendon has close to 100 feet of hitting room on the right side. And then the shortstop Bonifacio really playing into pole. And to that shortstop's left. He'll shovel it over to La Stella. And the Nats are gone in the 5th. They've stranded 6 runners. Can't get that 2-out hit in a scoreless game. Braves against Tanner Roark. Now that it's August 10th, we can go with August 10th of 1980, our VW moment in history. The A's had 4 pitchers throw a 14-inning complete game. How about that? In the same season, that's crazy. On August 10th, 1980, the right-hander going marathon that night.
Langford, Norris, and Kehoe, the other 3. Weird how none of those guys had Tommy John surgery, and they used to throw all day.
Those guys piled up some innings. Did not serve them well in the years to follow. Chris Johnson, double play, 3-6-1 first time. Roark, big breaking ball.
That may be the first curveball Tanner's thrown tonight. He's thrown 41 fastballs, 7 changes, 9 sliders. And that, by my count, is the first curveball.
Then he got up and in, and that's a fair ball right inside the first base bag. They got the runner, but nobody was at first. Adam LaRoche got the ball by him, and Bryce Harper tried to tuck it in right behind Johnson, who thought he was going to second initially.
Well, it was a great play by Bryce Harper to hold him to a single. Inside out swing, right between Adam LaRoche and the line. And Pat did Chris Johnson base hit, but Bryce, you didn't see right there, was really busting it down in the corner to keep Johnson to a single. Johnson saw Bryce get to that baseball much quicker than he thought. So a nice play by Harper to keep Johnson at first.
Just wondering how he took that pitch up and in, kept that thing fair over there.
He's probably wondering the same thing.
Here's Bonifacio, number 8 guy, very speedy. He's always been a pest, contact guy. Ripped. Johnson had to step over the top of the ball. First and second, nobody out, and a golden bunting opportunity for Aaron Harang.
It's going to have to be a good bunt because Chris Johnson does not run well. So if you're the Nationals, as we look at the Bonifacio single, you have a chance to get the lead runner. Johnson can't go to third because he has to hold up. Ball almost hit him. But whatever bunt play you put on right here should be to get the lead runner. Harang doesn't swing the bat very well at all. Never really has throughout the course of his career, so you don't necessarily concern yourself with the Butcher Boy where he pulls it back and slashes.
58 career sacrifices, 7 this year.
But if I'm on defense right now, I'm thinking about getting the lead runner.
They got a chance, a good one. Got a chance for double play. 5-3 after Roark, so 1-5-3 on the twin killing. And the Nats have turned a couple of impressive double plays tonight involving Tanner Roark.
Well, that was huge. Bad bunt by Aaron Harang. Tanner Roark, as good as it gets, fielding his position, bunted it way too hard. And maybe the reason he did, he's feeling the pressure of having a below average base runner speed-wise out there. Had to be a perfect bunt. It was anything but. And a nice 1-5-4 double play.
Cabrera on the receiving end.
Nice.
So a 3-6-1 and a 1-5-4. Top of the order, Upton with a runner at second base.
Been feeding him fastballs away to see if he makes the adjustment.
These guys in constant pull mode, and when they get some in their wheelhouse like they did last night, they can do damage. The Braves are so streaky, at times all or nothing. Target right on the outer edge and time given.
Well, Bonifacio was creeping off. He had a huge lead. 2 outs, middle infielder telling him, if you want to go, go. We're going to get our range here and make a play. Slippage right there by Tanner.
Yeah, spun around after he landed. All in all, the grounds crew did an amazing job on this field.
They did, but watch him slip right there. He tried to quick pitch Upton. We talked about it before. You see the slide step changing his motion.
Looking to swing it back, and he missed. 2-1. Into center. Denard Span coming forward for it. And both pitchers doing a good job of pitching out of some jams. 9-pitch inning to 4 hitters, including a double play. Telecast is presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Yeah, laying down the chalk lines a little earlier. Now playing some ball. This one to the top of the 6th inning. Freight Railworks with our Nationals due up. And what they've done over the last 2.5 years against the Braves. Adam LaRoche 1 for 2 tonight. Forward. 79 pitches for Harang now. 47 strikes.
This might be one of those nights where you forget about the big hit with runners in scoring position and drive yourself in.
LaRoche trying to do just that. See you later. Nice call. Nice swing. Number 16. And the Nats are on top in the 6th. Nothing like a clutch leadoff hit.
Yeah, get on base. Drive yourself in. Let's see if we go with the jump shot in the helmet right here. Why not? Nats up 1-0. See if Fister goes with it. Yeah, he does. There we go. Yeah, rimmed out.
I heard a brick.
Yeah, not a good shot by Doug, but 1-0 Nats.
Well, he had 2 Desmonds in the batter's box.
Well, check out the homer. 2-0 fastball, inner half. Adam LaRoche doesn't miss these. Base hit last time up, and that's right in his power zone. Right in a lot of hitters' power zone. Nicely done.
Wow, great take by Ian Desmond. A 1-0 breaking ball just off the plate. Let's see if he can keyhole something. 88 got by him. He kicks at the dirt after missing that one. Adam LaRoche, home run number 233. 2-2. 96th for the ball club.
Beard power. Yeah, 12-17, 12-18. I need to pronounce the D in Beard a little better than that.
It's about 395 where that ball left. And Desmond, a defensive swing to stay alive.
It's carrying. It's really carrying tonight. You know, if somebody barrels one up, it's got a chance. This ballpark playing small, and that's the first one to leave. But there's been some routine fly balls that have traveled all the way to the track.
Nats have 8 homers in their last 4 games now. Durang's kept the ball in the park pretty well for them. 10th homer of the year in 148 innings. 2-2 to Ian Desmond. Hits it hard on a hop. Bonifacio picks it. Air mails the throw, and somehow Freddie Freeman stayed on the bag.
Yeah, he was on there. Tony Tarasco would have been talking to first base umpire Phil Cuzzy. Bonifacio just picked this one, and then he kind of launches the throw right here. And I'm sure Freddie Freeman stayed on the bag. You see it right there. And I think you know who's coming up to the plate.
Freddie Freeman, 6'5", saving an error on his shortstop. Bryce Harper, 1 for 2, a base hit, called out on strikes last time.
Did that hit him in the hand?
Close to it.
I think it hit him in the hand.
Braves fans have been known to cheer before when Bryce was injured.
Let's see where it gets him. Starts his hands. Oh no, it didn't get him in the hand, and that might be even worse.
Yeah, if it rattled a bat like that.
It's not the rattle, it's him checking the swing and stopping the swing with his top hand and his thumb. Not anything to do with the vibration. It's having to do with the strength of his top hand that we talked a lot about last night. You see him squeezing it, flexing it. That's right where he had the surgery, right there. Tried to hold up, and you know, the check swing is always the thing. Anytime you have a wrist or a hand injury that gets you, probably just gave him that little bite. You remember that diving play he made recently, where he said he just got a little sharp pain real quick, and that's going to happen from time to time? Hope that's just it. It's just him holding up his swing. And he probably felt a sharp pain in there right when he tried to stop.
Of course they're going to go right back in there. They always do, and that's a foul off to the left side.
Felt it again. Talked about the hand strength for Harper and how it's been tough for him to throw that top hand into the zone, and how that's so crucial for any left-handed hitter, right-handed hitter too, that top hand and the throw of it and the strength of controlling the barrel of the baseball.
Harper will drop one into left field, and he's 2 for 3. That's a gamer at bat right there.
Love it. And nice job of staying through that ball, doinking it into left field. Second hit of the night for Bryce. like you said, Carp, sticking with it, gets himself a knock. You see Freddie Freeman asking him what happened when he got to first base, put the mitt on. Ready for action.
Bryce on in this series for the third time. Second time tonight. Here's Ramos. And Wilson Ramos goes to right center. Ball carrying and run down by B.J. Upton.
Bryce Harper forgot how many outs there were.
Bryce Harper's going to be doubled off for first base.
Adam LaRoche putting the Nats up 1-0 with the tater. And Doug Fister with the brick. Gap that he thinks may or may not be caught, a gamble, if you will. This is just not knowing how many outs there are. I mean, he's running like there's 2 outs. There's no chance that ball's getting in the gap. By the way, B.J. Upton went after it, so a mental mistake on the bases by Bryce Harper. Look, he's not even looking at the play. He's just running like there's 2 outs. He thinks that's the end of the inning and looks at Bob Henley, who says, Bryce, 2 outs. Chalk that up to another weird thing that happens in this ballpark every time the Nats come.
Tanner Roark with a lead to work with. Back to work. 2-3-4. La Stella, Freeman, Upton. That's close. And a 2-1. Wow, that's tight. Ball 3.
Not to put any pressure on Tanner Roark, but this may be the biggest shutdown inning of the year for the Nationals. He can get him right back in the dugout. Let's just say it'd be a real good thing.
And La Stella goes hacking on the outside corner there. Leadoff walk with big guns coming up. That was really the only pitch in the at-bat where he missed by a big margin. Second walk of the night. Freeman, Upton, and Hayward the next 3.
This is tough right here for Roark. Obviously, Freeman has had his success against the Nats, but the book on Freddie is up and in, and that's not where you get a ground ball.
Freeman 1 for 2 tonight with a double. And against Rowe, our career 4 for 11, 2 doubles. Freeman has bounced into 12 double plays this year, third most on the team. That was a pretty good changeup. Freddie Freeman all open and lunging for that. Guy got some kind of plate coverage, doesn't he?
Yeah, with 2 strikes, this is where he gets real good. Just shortens up. His swing is so compact. One of the best bat ball hitters in all of baseball.
Everything away on the Mercedes-Benz pitch track. Base hit. Turning, stopping. La Stella at second base. He's the tying run. Freddie Freeman, a walk and a home run last night. A double, a single tonight.
Well, that's what he does with 2 strikes. He just shortens up, plays pepper. For a big power hitter, it's impressive to watch Freddie Freeman hit with 2 strikes. That was not a bad pitch by Tanner Roark right there. He executed the game plan perfectly, but Freeman beat him for a single. Likes the ball down and in. He's so good at just dropping the barrel on it with 2 strikes.
Justin Upton has walked and grounded out. Target in. Late breaker, a beauty.
Justin Upton convinced that was a fastball, and it was maybe the best pitch of the night from Tanner Roark. Short, late slider.
He's tried twice up there.
Well, if I'm Justin Upton right now, I'm diving out there for the slider and 2-1 count. That's twice now that Tanner Roark's thrown that fastball up and into Upton. He followed it with a slider last time.
And he threw the slider way outside.
Well, now you're in trouble. You got to hope he hits it right at somebody. 3-1 count. You're going to be hacking.
Ball in, bases loaded. Second walk of the inning, third of the game. And lefty Hayward coming in. Steve McCaddy to the mound.
well-disciplined at bat right there by Justin Upton. You usually see him offer at those borderline pitches. He took some close pitches, took the walk, kept the line moving. That was a nice at bat. Not the shutdown inning that the Nationals were looking for, with a couple of walks and a base hit. And now if you're in a red jersey, you got to think lucky.
Pitch count's been pretty good all night. 66 over 44 strikes coming into this sixth inning. Those his numbers through 5. Now a couple of walks have piled things up. Hayward is grounded to short, and a fly ball to center. Time Tanner Roark gets the high strike call on the fastball. And Hayward, a foul tip.
There's a tendency right now to be in a hurry in an 0-2 count if you're Tanner Roark. You got some pitches to set something up with. You don't necessarily have to go kill shot right here in an 0-2 count. Maybe throw one a little bit higher, face high, and then go back to that inside. Ooh, that was almost a balk. There you go. It's a good pitch. Try to front hip him right here. Or you go slider at his back knee. Either one works.
There's the fastball. It jams him. Hayward able to get it out of play.
Hayward's got to be thinking about fastball in. That's all he's really seen here. Might swing over a slider if you go to it.
Target away. Roark went changeup. 83 fading. And the count's back even. Busted his bat. Is it deep enough? La Stella, the runner at third. Spans throw, hits the mound, and bounces almost straight up in the air. Game is tied.
Let's check out the sequence and how they work Jason Hayward. Big situation of the game, obviously. First pitch, fastball, first strike. Then they go right down the middle, and Hayward lates. Tries to climb the ladder 0-2. Comes back into the wood shop, jams him a little bit. Show me changeup to get right back into the fastball. And in a 3-2 count, Tanner Roark makes a big pitch. Jason Hayward, just a strong human being to be able to throw a sac fly out there with a broken bat. No chance at La Stella. The mound got Denard Span's throw.
Edvin Gaddis 1 for 2 steps in. And he was up there hacking at a pitch up. There was a slider sitting upstairs. That was Hayward's 44th RBI. That is very late to give time. Pretty good boring action down and into the right-hander there. Fastball away. Gaddis able to spoil it.
Got him last time with the slider down away for the punch-out pitch, and it might work off that fastball right there.
26 pitches this inning. Couple of walks, a base hit, a sac fly. Got him. 92. Upstairs enough. 2 down.
Huge. Absolutely huge. This challenges him. Belt-high fastball, and I think Gaddis usually doesn't miss that, but maybe the reason he did it, he was thinking, like I was thinking, he was going to get that slider again with 2 strikes late on the heater.
Last time up, Chris Johnson behind in the count. Inside out swing, got one right inside the first base bag. And there's that high strike call we've been seeing all night. Limiting the damage. After the bases were loaded, nobody out. Braves can only get 1 on a sac fly.
That was solid.
The strikeout, the comebacker. 1 for the Braves. Tie game into the 7th. To the 7th. Tanner Roark is gone. at least 6 innings for the 18th time this year and the 8th time in a row. He'll bet after Franzen here, top 7.
Might be the only thing that Doug Fister's done wrong all year, that jump shot we just showed with a helmet.
That was a brick.
Yeah, brick.
1-1. Just a good thing they're getting so much practice lately. 8 homers in 4 games.
What a job by Tanner Roark, wiggling out of that with just 1 run. Bases loaded, nobody out. Broken bat, sac fly. Big outs in a big situation. Damage control.
Speared by Harang. Great reaction to take a hit away from Kevin Franzen. That single hits in 4 innings tonight. And the only RBI, the Adam LaRoche leadoff bomb in the 6th over the 395 mark in right center. His 16th of the year, and his RBI total 60. It's been some frustration. The Nats have stranded 6 runners. Tanner Roark, fly ball to right, and a comebacker. Ball 1.
A lot of times you think about pinch hitting for your pitcher right here, but with a short bench and a guy that can really handle the bat. And also in a 1-to-1 game, he wants to give Tanner a chance to qualify for the W.
And Roark, a high fly ball to center for B.J. Upton.
All right, you can take home a piece of the game with Nationals Authentics. Bid now on game used items from Gio Gonzalez's 1,000th strikeout game, and you get stuff from your favorite Nat: Bryce Harper, Anthony Rendon, Jason Worth. See the full selection of items and place your bid at nationals.com/auction. The auction ends Sunday, August 10th at 8 p.m. Last call tonight, 2 o'clock.
That's Sunday night.
Oh, Sunday night. Sunday morning.
Gio goes tomorrow night.
I have no idea.
Which is kind of tonight. Denard Span stopped by Bonifacio, and he's going to be safe. Even if the ball's handled by Freeman. Another multi-hit game for Denard Span. His 43rd of the year.
Just raining hits for Denard Span. 4 hits on Thursday, 3 hits on Friday, 2 hits and counting here on Saturday. Good play by Bonifacio. Just maybe that little double pump right there, trying to get that ball out, was the difference. Freddie Freeman couldn't hang on, but a good effort by the Braves shortstop.
Yeah, Denard well past the bag when the throw got there. There's Cabrera, who's been on twice tonight. That's about hit the Braves 7-6.
It's one of those deals where the stolen base is huge. And there's certain guys that can steal a base late in the game when everybody knows they're gonna. Denard Span's one of those. Harang's so quick to the plate, though.
Pitch out, Span holding with 23 steals on the year.
I never understood the slide step, meaning the pitcher speeds up his delivery, and the pitch out. As a base stealer, when you slide step, if I have a green light, I'm not going. You're too quick to the plate. So the pitch out to me is a waste.
Cabrera right to Bonifacio. Nats are gone in the top of the 7th inning. They've stranded 7. It's our Hyundai 7th inning stretch in Atlanta. Well played, well pitched game after the 3-hour 41-minute rain delay. The Nationals and the Braves all knotted up.
Hope you're with us. Heading to the bottom of the 7th inning, tied at 1. Time for some Geico highlights, and Tanner Roark does a nice job wiggling out of what could have been a big situation, and the Braves doing some serious damage, but he got the broken bat sac fly. That scored Tommy La Stella on the leadoff walk. And he gets Evan Gattis to strike out and Chris Johnson to ground out to minimize the damage. But I'm wondering if the high strike zone has affected Tanner tonight, just in the sense that he's feeling like that's where the strikes are, because he's been elevated the last couple of innings with the fastball.
Well, he's made some pretty good adjustments. If a tough night is 1 run on 6 hits, he has done quite well dealing with what the strike zone is. Look at the snap on that breaking ball. And he's had so many pitches just off the corner, but he hasn't gotten the call on. Bonifacio, Harang, and Upton. Looks like Ryan Domit to hit for the pitcher next. That's 7 innings out of Aaron Harang.
Good change.
Braves box. 2 hits in the 5th. Double play ball took care of that. Earlier, the leadoff hit in the 2nd by Gattis. Double play took care of that. And they got the sac fly by Jason Hayward, who was left holding about, I don't know, 10 inches of his bat handle after he got sawed off. Still able to get it out deep enough to center. Jordan Walden has been tough on the Nats last year and this year. One and 2 to Bonifacio. Pulled it twice. That'll move him back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ross Detweiler. Looks like Matt Thornton, actually.
It's Thornton.
That's Matt Thornton. And a big rolling curveball. 73 miles an hour. Strikeout number 5. Nissan will try to track it.
Well, it's a big out in a tie ball game. Bonifacio with legitimate speed. Got to keep him off the bases. 16 bags on the year, and he throws a nasty hook to retire the Braves shortstop. A real good feel for that curveball changeup combination all of a sudden.
That was outstanding. The line on Harang. 7 innings, 7 hits, a run, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Braves take him out after 103 pitches. He talked about his number of no decisions.
Let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah. And Domit will pop it up. Ian Desmond takes charge.
All right, how about some K's for kids? All you kids that are still up at 1 in the morning, here you go. The DC area Toyota dealers want to help children and their families by making a donation of $37 to the Children's Inn at NIH for every strikeout by a Nats pitcher this season.
Base is empty, 2 outs. Top of the order, B.J. Upton. Perfect fastball to the outside edge. Upton tonight 0 for 3. Couple of strikeouts swinging. Fly ball to center. Fastball up. 91, a foul tip, 2-2. Roark trying to go at least 7 for the 11th time this year. He had that string of 5 in a row until he went 6 1/3 against the Orioles. And a 2-2 fastball. He has struck out BJ 3 times tonight. He's hearing some boos, and 6 Ks on the night.
How good is Tanner Roark? Doing it again tonight against the Braves.
Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at OCOcean.com. And by Navy Federal Credit Union. 4 million members, 4 million stories. Navy Federal Credit Union. What a night for Tanner Roark. He goes 7 for the 11th time this year.
I'm so impressed with the makeup more than the stuff. Potomac Nationals, your summer home for the future stars of the Washington Nationals. For tickets, go to PotomacNationals.com or call the number on your screen. I'm blinded by the lights. There's the arsenal for Jordan Walden. Fastball averaging 96, slider 83, changeup 87 miles an hour.
He got a little lucky on that Rendon out last night. Anthony punished that ball to center with Span at second in the 7th. Would have tied the ball game. Then he shut down LaRoche, Desmond, Harper 1-2-3 in the 8th. Anthony Rendon is 2 for 7 career against him with that tough luck out last night. And he'll pop him up on the first pitch. Freddie Freeman, fair ball, 1 out.
All right, just like we promised you yesterday, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lights. And we're going to go back to Adam LaRoche, 6th inning, and there's your Nets run tonight. 2-0 fastball, inner half, right where he loves it. About 4 rows deep into right center field, and he is looking to repeat the effort here so that Doug Fister can work on his jump shot once again.
Rendon, Ramos, and LaRoche have gone deep in this series. Adam 2 for 3 tonight. So since the start of August, he's now 12 for 33 with 3 home runs, 5 batted in. Against Walden, 2 for 5. And a ball to left. Justin Upton. Ian Desmond now.
All right, remember, Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers are donating $250 to the Children's National Medical Center for every home run a Nationals player hits this season. So keep them coming. It's for a wonderful cause like the lead, Lexus, the pursuit of perfection.
That is the ultimate cause. And we love it when long balls and strikeouts and walks drawn help in the community. Ian Desmond is 0 for 3 tonight, and in this series 0 for 7. Ball game in progress right now, 2 hours and 9 minutes as we play top of the 8th. Bob F.P. Dan taking you late into the night and into Sunday morning with a 10:51 start tonight. Latest any game in baseball has started this year local time. 1-2 pitch. Fastball rides up 2-2 on Ian Desmond. Two for 9 career with a double against Jordan Walden.
You see that pitch right there? That was 96 miles an hour. Watch what it does.
It cut away.
It's like a slider at 96. Now, sometimes pitchers will yank a fastball, but watch the movement on this 96 mile an hour whatever.
1-1 ball game. 2 outs, top of the 8th. Swinging a foul tip. Nationals go 1-2-3 against Walden, who's retired all 7 batters he's faced in these 2 games.
Now go there. They're waiting for you guys. You do not need to be a Cox customer. Just go. The store is open. Visit Cox.com for your nearest store while supplies last. And I'm still blinded by the lights.
That's a big power zone right there. This call to the bullpen, Matt Thornton, packaged by the UPS store. Your one-stop shop for all your small business needs. Let us handle your mailbox service needs. We love logistics. Impressive Nationals debut, this man.
Yeah, mid to upper 90s fastball, and the command, in my mind, has been the most impressive thing. Really throwing it downhill away to lefties. Elevating with 2 strikes. You see the numbers on Matt Thornton. 2.39 ERA. And lefties hitting 250, righties 231.
Inning and 2/3 for the Nats, giving up 1 hit. Only a couple of the Braves have faced him. None of them scheduled to bat in this inning, and La Stella strike 1. He's been on base twice. Singled in the 3rd, walk. Their only run scored in the 6th on that Jason Hayward sacrifice fly. I've talked to a couple of scouts here this weekend who have expressed surprise that the Yankees let Matt Thornton go.
Was that the same scout that told us at dinner tonight that Denard Span's having a really good season?
No. Yeah, he's wrong.
I said, thanks for that. You're the guy I want. Looking for a trade.
Ironically, that scout has a little history with Matt Thornton.
Well, thanks for blowing the cover. That's great.
That ball's down into the corner and just to the right of the 330. Where Bryce Harper couldn't quite get to it.
Remember, right field last year here at Turner Field was not a good place for Bryce Harper. It's where all the injuries started to happen, and La Stella hits a ball down the right field line, and Harper wants nothing to do with the fence.
And now La Stella flipping one out the other way, 1-2.
No.
95 and inside with that running heater. Playing over toward the line a bit, Kevin Franzen. And he has it for the first out with Freeman and Upton coming up.
All right, as we promised you earlier in the game, here's your AT&T fan photo. And that is actually Denard Span, and he is with a full life-size bobblehead. There she is. Denard is actually holding her. Nicely done, Denard. He's doing it all. What can I say?
Here's Freeman. 2 for 3. Saw a fastball upstairs he thought he could reach.
Here's my gas. What can you do with it? Straight challenging, guys, with mid-90s.
Look at Freeman. He'll make contact and drop it into center on an 0-2 pitch. He might be the best power hitting 2-strike base hit guy there is. 3 for 4 tonight.
But I'm sure he wanted to elevate this at a 2-strike count or maybe just paint it away. But sometimes good hitters beat good pitches. That's exactly where Thornton wanted it. Looking back at the replay, Ramos set up away. And Freddie Freeman doing what he does so well. That short, little compact pepper-like swing he has with 2 strikes.
Justin Upton 0 for 1, 2 walks tonight. Probably got a little advice from his brother in the dugout a moment ago. BJ has faced Thornton 7 times. High strike call. It's been in the zone for home plate umpire Greg Gibson all night. Chopper to third. Rendon, Cabrera. Nats go around the horn, and Upton able to beat it out. With 2 down, Freddie Freeman all over Asdrubal Cabrera.
Oh, the speed of Upton, the chopper, it was going to be a tough double play. Good feed by Rendon, good turn by Cabrera. I don't think Freddie had anything to do with that. That was just a matter of the chop of the ball, the speed of the ball, and the speed of Upton. Nice turn by Cabrera. Upton barely beats it to keep the inning alive.
Hayward 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. Looks like Kimbrel either way in the ninth, whether it's tied or not. Don't warm that guy up unless you're going to use him.
It's a good change of runners for the Braves, should they decide to steal right here with 2 outs. Freddie Freeman 0 for 2 on the year. And Justin Upton with 7 bags, been caught twice.
Left field, and a diving play by Kevin Franzen on a ball that was well in front of him and tailing to the left field line.
Well, he got a bad read on it. He went back and had to make a diving play, and that's a huge gamble at this point of the game. Kevin Franzen laying out right there, making a great play to keep this a 1-1 game. He made up for the bad jump to make the play. Kimbrel takes the mound on the top of the ninth, scored tied at 1. And Bryce Harper about to lead things off. You can watch every out-of-market game live and catch all the second half action on MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. Visit nationals.com for details. You know the drill: fastball mid to upper 90s, curveball, power curveball mid to upper 80s.
33rd save of the year last night when he struck out Ramos, grounded out Franzen, struck out Espinosa to end the game. The Nats have Harper, Ramos, Franzen tonight. Bryce career against Kimbrel, 1 for 5 with a double. Bryce Harper tonight 2 for 3, both base hits the other way.
We got bet fastball right here and catch it out front. Easy to say.
98. And that was the slider, 86. Inside the numbers with Jeep. So 9 out of every 10 in his career. Third best all time.
Well, not a save opportunity right now, so sometimes you can catch these guys when they don't have that same adrenaline rush of putting another save on their tally. I guess I should say this is when guys like Kimbrel are their most vulnerable.
'98 upstairs. Bryce able to get to it to stay alive.
Good take. Not easy. Good hack. Getting closer. See, but it's so hard when you're gearing up to face almost 100-mile-an-hour fastball to lay off the off speed. Just try to pick up that rotation right out of his hand as quick as you can. Some pitches that are hittable right in the middle. At 100, if there's such a thing.
Nasty on the slider. Harper gone for the first out. Wilson Ramos coming in with more. Here's Dan.
Guys, twice during Wilson Ramos' ninth inning at bat against Kimbrel last night did he have a brief conversation with home plate umpire Jerry Davis, and Ramos told me today that those conversations were indeed about the discoloration on Kimbrel's hat. Davis chose not to take any action on that, and today Matt Williams was asked about Ramos' conversations with Davis. He smiled and essentially gave a no comment. The Nats see the discoloration on Kimbrel's hat, but their skipper is choosing not to make a fuss about it.
Ooh, that fastball gets up and away.
We've seen it for a number of years now, and we heard it's the same hat he's used for the last couple of years, and it's just a rosin buildup thing with sweat. And everybody wondering why we didn't point it out. It's not our job to point it out. You can see it. You can see the pictures. And it's the same reason why Matt Williams didn't comment it, why I didn't last night. That's for the players.
Crowd upset on ball 2 that was about 8 inches outside. Wilson Ramos 2 for 7 career against Kimbrel. And that's ball 3. Now they're booing a pitch that was about a foot outside.
Well, they've been here a long time, and
everybody a little cranky,
amongst other things. He goes power curve right here. He's got me.
That's fastball. Ramos the other way. Ball carrying. And Hayward has to go back and then leap at the last second to keep it from hitting up against the wall.
Pretty good at bat right there by Wilson Ramos. Gets to a 3-1 count. Fouls off a fastball. Then gets one elevated right there and beats Craig Kimbrell, and the ball almost beat Jason Hayward. Just pure athletic ability to make that adjustment on the fly. Made the play.
We heard earlier tonight that Jason Worth might be available. He's on deck if Kevin Franzen can continue this 9th inning.
Well, that's news, because if Michael Taylor's here and Jason Worth's going to DL, you can retroactive it 2 days ago, so it would only be like a 13-day DL thing. If he gets in this game and then goes on the DL, it's a 15-day DL. So I guess the point is probably not going on. It might be somebody else.
Franzen to center, right where B.J. Upton was playing. Nats haven't been able to get a hit against the Braves bullpen in 2 innings. Now it's up to the Nats pen to hold Atlanta. Ninth inning. Gaddis, Johnson, Bonifacio for the Braves. And for the Nats, it'll be Drew Storen. Last pitched against the Mets on Thursday.
Well, you see their repertoire. Everybody knows it if you're a Nats fan. I talked to Drew today. He said, you know, as a kid, he grew up watching Braves games. And the Braves actually talked to him about maybe drafting him at one time. And he said it's my dream to pitch in Atlanta against the tomahawk chop. And he's getting his wish right now, because I'll tell you what, say whatever you want about Braves fans, they stuck this one out there here and they've been loud all night.
It's been a well-played, well-pitched game on both sides. Evan Gaddis 1 for 3. He's 0 for 3 against Drew Storen. Each team 1-7-0, each with 7 stranded. As even as a ball game can be. And Gaddis, a high fly ball for Denard Span.
Big out, tried to go ambush walk-off Tater. Drew Storm was having none of it.
Chris Johnson against Drew Storm, 3 for 7. Only man on the Braves roster with a home run career against the Nats right-hander. He's had a 1 for 3 night with a base hit the other way.
Boy, there's been no corners tonight at all for either team.
'93 with late sink.
Late sink and tons of sink. Look at Drew Storm getting inside of this two-seamer. Split action really at 93. Look at that.
Three pitches, 93, all doing similar things.
He got the good sinker going.
Yeah, you did, says Greg Gibson. 2 outs on a nasty slide piece. Big break on that one for Drew. He's got wicked stuff tonight. Former Nat Emilio Bonifacio, 0 for 3 career against Drew. And a ball lashed down the line. Bryce Harper over to his left. Throws in behind the runner. Runner at first, 2 outs.
Got to try to steal here.
Ramiro Pena will be the pinch hitter for Kimbrel.
I mean, not just, taking off blind here on the first pitch, but I mean, you got to get there somehow, some way if you're Emilio Bonifacio. 16 bags on the year, tie ball game, bottom of the 9th, and you got to do it early to give Ramiro Pena a chance to drive you in.
He's always been a good base stealer. 16 out of 22 with the Cubs and the Braves. 2 and not being caught with Atlanta.
He's such a big part of the game right now. Up to Randy Knorr, who's done a great job all year of controlling the running game here. Calls the throwovers and pitch outs. But, if it takes 5 or 6 throwovers and this place boos for 10 minutes, it doesn't matter. This is huge.
He's running. Pitches a strike. Throw is short. Long hop for Desmond. Bonifacio beating it.
That's a stolen base. Everybody in the ballpark knows you're going. It's a 1-run game. 1-1 game, excuse me. And Bonifacio rips it. Drew Storm quick to the plate. Wilson Ramos quick with the release, but he short hopped it. And I think a good throw. He's there either way. He and Desmond looking for that foot to come off the base. And now you got to decide who you want. You want Pena right here? Do you walk him? and go for B.J. Upton in the right-on-right matchup, and the slider plays.
B.J. Upton, just looking that up, 0 for 4 career against Drew Storen.
Now they're going to walk him. Looking ahead, the fastball away has been the pitch that B.J. Upton hasn't seen tonight. He struck out 3 times on that fastball away. And like I said earlier in the game, these guys know each other so well. It's just a matter of executing the game plan right here. You know what you have to do as a pitcher. Adrenaline has a chance to take over right here for both guys. It's whoever keeps their cool.
So Upton against Roark, 0 for 4, 3 swinging strikeouts.
Fastball away, and a slider away. See if he can execute it. There's one.
92. Mentioned he was 0 for 4 against Drew. 2 of those strikeouts.
Two. Did you even mess around with the slider right here? It said fastball away, slider. I don't know. Where's a tendency to go the well right now, isn't there?
Sure is.
I say slider back to the fastball away.
Yeah, just make sure you don't hang it. I mean, that thing's got to be outside. He may get himself out.
Well, of course.
There's the slider. What a pick by Ramos.
Well, it's a big play in the sense that you can still throw this pitch in the course of the at-bat and not really worry about it. That gets by Wilson Ramos. To me, irrelevant if Emilio Bonifacio gets to third from a scoring standpoint on a base hit. He's going to score on a base hit from second. But now, since he's not on third, you can bounce that slider again if you want to. But this is about executing a fastball away right here in a 1-2 count. Overthrew it.
Bouncer to short. Desmond on the charge, on the run, and that's it. We're going extras. Drew Storen gives up a base hit, gets a big out. It's on to the 10th.
of the 10th inning. And Denard Span 2 for 4 with a triple. Adam LaRoche solo home run. Tanner Roark with a great night on the mound. But let's go back and show you how this game got to where it's at right now. Adam LaRoche, he went deep on a 2-0 fastball. And I am losing my voice. Jason Hayward gets a sac fly. And that's it. I'll tell you what. Obviously an important game when you're talking about postseason ramifications. But if you don't win this one, it's going to be tough tomorrow for either team to come out here. I don't care if it's a night game or not. That's why this one's so important. Both teams are going to be dragging tomorrow.
Braves right-hander David Carpenter. Strikeout guy, 50 strikeouts in 40 innings over 43 games. And he's also stepped in a couple of times when Kimber was overworked and saved 3 games. Scott Hairston pinch hitting. And against Carpenter, he's 0 for 2. Another guy who throws mid-90s. And then the breaking ball is in there. Hairston, a pinch hitting appearance last night. He was hit by Irvin Santana. That led to that 4-run comeback 6th inning. Nasty breaking ball, 1 out.
I'm telling you, we should do something for Nats fans that stay up late to watch these games, or even stay at the ballpark for extra innings. Maybe stick it out, late night game. I'm serious. The red badge and attitude, go with it. We got so many fans up watching this game right now. They're into it, and we love it.
Denard Span is 1 for 2 career against the right-hander. And he cracks one to right. It's going to carry to Hayward.
How locked in is Denard Span? Bidding for his 3rd hit. So 4 hits a couple of games ago. 3 hits last night. Denard Span with 2 tonight, going for his 3rd. Hits an absolute rope right on the money that almost took off on Jason Hayward. Watch him just kind of stab at that ball. That would have been a run if it got by him.
Here's Cabrera. 1 for 3 night with a base hit and a walk. 1 for 1 career against Carpenter. Nationals' last hit was Span in the 7th. That ball well hit down the line and hooking, and didn't miss the pole by much. But Cabrera went down and got it.
Well, distance, and he started to run, which made me think that this was close. You know, usually if a guy hits a homer and it's foul, they don't leave the batter's box. Cabrera does a nice job of staying on the off speed, staying through it. And look at the body language. He's wishing it foul, and almost had a home run to put the Nats ahead. You see it hook. Probably looks a little more foul right there with that camera angle, but got me excited for a second.
Now the 0-2.
got the count back to even. Tyler Clippard getting loose.
And a fastball that he was late for. Cabrera able to get it out of play. His last 5 ball games, 5 hits, 4 walks. And the top of the 10th is over as Carpenter strikes out 2. Clippard will face La Stella, Freeman, and Upton, bottom 10. Washington stranding 9, Atlanta, or rather 7, Atlanta 9. Here's the pitching matchup for the Sunday night game. That's ESPN tomorrow night. Gio and Alex Wood. We will rejoin you on Tuesday. Nats will be at Citi Field to take on the Mets. Doug Fister, 11-3, coming off 7 1/3 brilliant innings against New York, with not an earned run, no walks, 7 strikeouts on Wednesday. And Jacob deGrom. Thursday at Washington, got a no decision in 6 solid innings, giving up 3 earned runs. Nats Extra, 6:30.
I see Tyler Clippard in the arsenal. Don't forget that split as the out pitch. Fastball, curveball, changeup, splits is what the Braves are about to see from the Nats right-hander.
First time Tommy La Stella faces him. Just another fantastic all-star season for Tyler Clippard.
Tough decision for La Stella right here. Do you take? Do you swing away? Kind of in leadoff hitter mode, but you take a 2-0 fastball to get maybe a 2-1 changeup. We'll see.
90 for strike 1.
This is usually the split count. See if it goes to it.
Off speed at 79. Cabrera handles it. First out.
Well, you saw the tumbling action. That was a split.
Next up will be a tough matchup. Freddie Freeman 3 for 4. And against Tyler Clippard, 5 for 14 career.
Put out light in the scoreboard over the third base dugout.
Yeah, he just changed the color of one entire inning.
Yeah. Even though Freddie Freeman's got a couple of hits with 2 strikes tonight, I don't know if Tyler Clippard's a guy you want to mess around with and get to that count. See if he goes with the split again. Shake. Shake. 3 shakes.
And the 0-2.
Split.
So among those 5 hits, a home run. 1 walk, 3 strikeouts.
That's outfield in no doubles mode. Everybody giving Freddie Freeman a lot of respect, as they should. He's seeing that split early. He's not even flinching. 0-2 to 3-2.
Payoff pitch with 1 out. Freeman takes ball 4.
It's a good pitch.
Didn't miss by much at all.
There hasn't been corners all night, and there still isn't. Tyler Clippard showing some emotion that he never shows after this pitch. 3-2 pitch to Freeman. Outside, Clippard wanted it. According to pitch track, it was the right call.
Next up will be Justin Upton. 3 for 8 career against Clippard with 2 home runs.
0-2 walk.
Upton tonight 0 for 2, a pair of walks. .78 dropping to the outside edge.
But it's a huge pitch. And Justin Upton's got one thing on his mind, and that's jumping ship and end of this ball game. He's in a 1-0 count looking for the fastball. He dropped the changeup in. Careful right here.
And a ball hit high in the air to left. Kevin Franzen for the second out.
A huge react right there from Justin Upton. He got a pitch that he thought that could have ended the game with. I mean, I'm sure you heard the audio, but he got a change up, looked like he was sitting on it, and you see him screaming as he pops it up to left. Watch the reaction. I even think he dropped a dang it in there.
A little southern.
Nice self-restraint.
Here's Hayward. Tyler Clippard, ball one. Yeah, that looked like that pitch was heading right down the middle, and just at the end, enough in on the trademark. Hayward against Clippard's been a tough matchup for Tyler, 5 for 10. Over for a look, Rendon, no chance. Braves won last night in a 7-6 affair. Nationals led 1-0 for a matter of minutes tonight. The LaRoche leadoff homer, 6th inning. Bottom of that inning, the Braves scored. They're trying to get it back to 2.5 tonight. Every game here, of course, is a 2-game swing in terms of that deficit.
Late on 2 fastballs.
Well, Tyler Clippard, 3rd day in a row out there. 1 hit, 2 strikeouts, scoreless 8th inning last night. And the 10th inning duty tonight. Freeman a short lead, 1-2. Hayward pops it straight back.
I mean, the temptation here is to go to the out pitch, right? Throw the changeup or the split, but you got a hitter that really not picking up your heater. Let's go with the split.
It stays off the belt inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Did you hear how I said it with my golfer broadcaster voice, just in case, because it's real quiet here?
It's a little quiet before some of these pitches. It's been a long night for these folks.
I think he's going with the split.
And Hayward will reach out and stroke it to left, and Kevin Franzen is there.
How about a run?
Rendon, LaRoche, and Desmond, top 11. of them this year. They're coming off a win at home the other day, which was refreshing. Braves have played in 14 of these this year. They're 5-9. Nats have been better on the road in extra innings this year, with a record of 3-3.
I have friends in Atlanta right now texting me thinking I'm lying that I'm still at the ballpark watching and broadcasting the game. That I don't want to see him.
Think you are?
I don't want to see him tonight. Yeah.
Braves 4-3 at home in extra innings. David Carpenter still pitching. Rendon, LaRoche, and Desmond. Front door on the slider, a good one. Rendon, career against Carpenter, 1 for 5. Tonight, Anthony 0 for 3 with a walk. And the fastball rides up and in.
Little attitude.
Dad, I'm going to catch a foul ball. You've got to stay.
Looks a little tired, but he's hanging tough. Stuff you remember the rest of your life, being in a ball game with your dad at 2 in the morning.
And you're not even in trouble.
Yeah. Great. Old school.
Rendon, nice swing, takes it the other way. Hayward on the charge. The Nationals have their first hit since the 7th inning.
Yeah, it's tough to come by when you're facing the Braves bullpen. It's always been that way. Anthony Rendon does a nice job of getting the party started with a base hit to right here in the 11th.
Adam LaRoche 2 for 4. Single. Home run. A leadoff big fly to right center in the 6th.
Adam LaRoche has a couple of home runs here at Turner Field as a National, and they've both been after midnight. Remember last year in the 15-inning game? And the one here tonight was after midnight as well.
And LaRoche with a base hit. Rendon hops over the top of the ball. Had to slow down. You're not going to charge or challenge a guy who charges well and has 7 assists in Hayward. So Ian Desmond will bat with 2 men aboard.
Well, he could have challenged Hayward because Hayward was playing no doubles. The fact that he had to hop here to get out of the way of the baseball cost him a first to third. Hayward was playing deeper than deep, respecting the power of Adam LaRoche, as he should be at this point. And had Rendon not hopped over the baseball, he could have gone first to third. All right, let's see what you got, kid. So far, so good.
Ian Desmond 0 for 4. That was Adam LaRoche's first career hit against Carpenter. Desmond is 1 for 5 with a double.
Long look at Bob Henley. A lot of managers would bunt in this situation, but you have a guy in the batter's box with 18 home runs. We'll see how they play it. Might have scooted up a little bit, actually.
Desmond hits it well, but it's another laser near a fielder or right at him. It took a reach by Upton at the last second to pull that in.
That was a bad read and a great recovery by Justin Upton. I thought this ball was over his head. He was frozen for a minute on the bullet off the bat of Ian Desmond. Watch the recovery. You see him freeze, kind of take a jab step in, then reaches up. I mean, that would have been a whole lot of runs for the Nationals. Rendon would have scored. LaRoche would have been to third, and Desmond would have been on second with nobody out. But Upton says, not tonight.
Freddie Gonzalez will go to a left-hander here. They put Mike Minor back in the bullpen tonight to join James Russell. So on the right, Russell will be the man to come in and face Bryce Harper. He was with the Cubs when the Nats saw Chicago home and home over a month ago. So wheels turning in the 11th. Lefty-lefty matchup coming up with the lead runs on base. Tonight, 2 singles, 2 strikeouts, lefty-lefty matchup coming with a former Cub who came over here with Emilio Bonifacio on July 31st, and that's James Russell.
Yeah, fastball averages 88, straight over the top. Slider 80. He'll cut the fastball at 88. A curveball at 75 and a changeup at 80. And you see why they got him. It's not to get out left-handers. They're hitting 314 against him. How about that? Righty's in the hundreds. So Bryce Harper facing a lefty that has a 300-plus average against.
Yeah, I was going to say Bryce has contributed to some of that against Russell with 2-for-2 career, both doubles. Another plate appearance was a walk.
And the Braves do not like their newest reliever, Braves fans. Let's see. Bad greeting for the lefty.
'83 off speed. That is really interesting. 298 lefties. 70 points under against right-handers. Ball 2. Ramos and Franz in the next 2. They had a right-hander working. So a one-batter deal for Russell here. Soriano and Stammen, depending on the score for the bottom of the 11th.
So the best arm in right field with Jason Hayward. He's a guy that Doesn't just have a good arm, he throws people out. Rendon should be okay in center, should be okay in left. And you know Bob Henley's sending him no matter what.
Bryce Harper looks it all the way down for ball 3.
Well, I swung at that one in my brain. That's a good take.
A visit from Evan Gattis now. And a 3-1 pitch. A step off while he was checking Rendon. And Bryce Harper walks, bases loaded.
Great at-bats.
Here comes Freddie Gonzalez again.
The PA guy just called him Wilson Ramos. If he gets a hit, they'll figure his name out.
Maybe the regular guy got a little relief after midnight. Anthony Varvaro against Wilson Ramos next. Wilson Ramos, the hitter. Anthony Varvaro comes in for the Braves. First his repertoire, and then damage from last night.
Well, yeah, this is the matchup from last night. Fastball 93, curveball 80, changeup 85. And Wilson Ramos looking to get something elevated off the Braves' right-handed reliever. And I would say he got something elevated last night out of the rain delay. Second time this year, Wilson's hit a tater out of a rain delay. First one in Chicago against the Cubs, Jeff Samardzija. Try spelling that name at 2:10 in the morning. And then last night against Varvaro.
Nats are on the comeback trail. Couldn't quite get back even. And a huge sequence for the Nats here. Ramos up the middle. It's into center field, and it's on the ground. Rendon scores. LaRoche stopping at third. 2-1 Washington. And Wilson Ramos is now 2 for 6 career against Varvaro, with 2 batted in this series.
Who said nothing good ever happens after midnight?
Your parents?
Totally false. Totally false. Sticking inside of it right here. Fastball in. The best jammage I've ever seen. That scores Anthony Rendon, and The line is moving, and the kid that stayed up till 2 a.m., the Nats fan, got it done.
Kevin Franzen is next. Jason Worth coming out on deck again in the pitcher's spot. And Franzen goes up swinging. Got a first pitch hook. He is 1 for 2 career. And there's the number 9 spot again with Jason Worth on deck. Second time tonight.
We got to think big inning right here. Can't be satisfied with just 1.
Another breaking ball. Franzen hammers it right field, and Hayward can't get it. 2 runs are going to score. LaRoche is around. Here comes Harper, and the Nationals lead 4-1. And now here comes Ramos, and he's going to be out. Oh, he's safe. Throw beat him. He got in under it. And the Nationals score 3, and Freddie Gonzalez is going to come out and challenge this one, you would think. Throw beat Ramos. He kept on coming.
And Kevin Franzen's hit the ball hard 3 times tonight. He finally has something to show for it. The biggest knock of the season, and maybe the biggest knock of Kevin Franzen's career. Look at him stay on the curveball. He set a trap. He swung at the first one in the dirt, sat on it on the second one. And the biggest break for the Nats is that ball stayed in play, didn't bounce out for a ground rule double. Bryce Harper scores. And Wilson Ramos just, kept running. It's hard to stop a Buffalo. He just had so much momentum. And, ooh, that one's going to be overturned. Sorry.
Yeah, he looked out to us. No matter what, 3 runs have scored in the inning.
I mean, how clutch was that from Kevin Franzen? Last minute replacement. Jason Worth scratched about an hour before the game.
The Atlanta crowd just seeing the replay on the board, and Greg Gibson, who made that call, looking up to watch it.
He's out. Evan Gattis did everything right. He stayed in fair territory. He didn't block the plate. I was shocked that they called him out, to be honest, or safe, to be honest with you. This will be the definitive view. Yeah, he's out.
Interesting. Gibson, a perfect angle on the play. And I just wonder if he was thinking Ramos had the leg outstretched enough to be on the plate when he was tagged up higher, but he is out, as we thought he was originally. But the Nats will still get 2 runs on the play and lead 4-1.
Well, I'm going to give Greg Gibson the benefit of the doubt. For the simple fact that it's 2:15 in the morning, and he's been back there calling balls and strikes all night. So, not an easy call, and they got it right. Watch get right on the thigh. Boom, before the foot hits. Not an easy call.
Jason Worth, 1 for 3 career against Vervaro. The Nats have put 3 on the board here in the 11th. Remember a big hit Kevin Franzen had in Arizona late in the ball game that got the Nats a road win they needed.
That was a home run.
Yeah.
That wasn't against the team chasing you, though, in their ballpark in a pennant race in late August.
Two and 0. Jason taking all the way. 4-pitch walk. 2 on, 2 out.
Here comes that guy. Here he is.
Well, Denard Span absolutely crushed the ball last time up. Caught by Hayward in right. He's the 8th Nat to bat in this inning. Roger McDowell to the mound for the Braves. Steven Souza Jr. will run for Jason Worth.
I wonder how Johnny and Ray are hanging back at the studio. I mean, this might be the first Nats Extra that's going to draw better ratings than Good Morning America.
Yeah, they're fine. They've got a good caterer.
Yeah. They should do some traffic updates, even though it's Sunday.
Denard Span 2 for 5 tonight. Triple, single. Another multi-hit game. His 43rd of the year. Hitting streak at 13 games. On base streak at 35. At the letter, strike one. Span had a base hit against Varvaro last night. So he is 2 for 5 career against him. Fastball skipping in, 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, the Nats bullpen good enough to keep Atlanta down so that the Nats could get beyond Walden, Kimbrel, and Carpenter. Although David Carpenter did give up the 2 hits to start this inning. But man, they went a long time between hits and finally broke loose here in the 11th.
The managers today are so by the book. You talk about bringing Russell in to face Bryce Harper. You know, lefty's hitting over 300 against Russell. Righty's hitting in the hundreds. And then Freddie Gonzalez going to his right-hander when actually Russell suits up better for right-handers than he does left-handers according to his stats.
Span rifles another one just foul outside third. Counts 2-2.
And Carp, the reason I talk about stuff like that, I play for 2 managers in Felipe Alou and Dusty Baker that could have cared less what the stat sheet said. They just managed by their gut, and they didn't care what the media asked them after. You know, why didn't you bring in the righty to face the righty? If he felt like he got a good matchup left on right, they would both go with it. Obviously, hindsight's 20/20, but you know, we took note of the numbers and what they were in those situations.
2-2 to Span. Breaking ball, strikes out. But in the 11th, 8 Nationals come to the plate. They plate 3 of them. A single up the middle by Wilson Ramos. And then the big blow, Kevin Franzen goes the other way, drives in 2. 3-run lead, bottom 11 coming.
The 11th inning, little natted dude got the job done just like the Nats did. How about that? Nicely done, my man.
Yeah. He looks quietly confident.
Make sure you get up at 6 in the morning and wake your parents up, too.
Rafael Soriano, 25 saves, 29 opportunities. And here in the 11th, the Braves are beyond the middle of their order, except for Gaddis, who will be the leadoff guy, then Johnson and Bonifacio. So a couple of hitters that have been Nats' nemesis, they will not have to deal with here, like Freddie Freeman and Justin Upton. Kevin Franzen, a big blow for much-needed breathing room going bottom 11.
Yeah, Wilson Ramos with the hit to put him ahead, but Kevin Franzen giving some cushion, and nice job by both guys in big situations.
Evan Gaddis, 1 for 4 career against Soriano. And the 91 heater right in there. Nice cut away from the right-hander at the last instant. That is right in there with a beautiful slider. 1 out.
About 3-pitch C, and nicely done. You know, good cut fastball to a better slider. That's where the Nats have been going this whole series, to get Evan Gaddis out. Sliders away.
And the heater right in there. Chris Johnson, career 0 for 2 against Soriano. The count's even 1-1.
Some serious cut on the fastball tonight for Soriano. See that one take off?
His arm's live tonight. Last appearance Thursday against the Mets, when he struck out 1, pitched a scoreless 9th inning. Just off the end of the stick for Johnson there.
Everything away, off the plate away.
With 1 out, a 2-2 pitch. Got him with a fastball up.
Oh, nicely done. I think he nailed it, Carp, when you said it's jumping out of his hand tonight. Chris Johnson trying to go the other way. Overmatched with the fastball and the no stride, 2-strike swing.
Bonifacio, 2 for 4. And against Soriano, career 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Getting ahead of hitters. Ground ball. Oh, bad hop on LaRoche. And recovered by Cabrera. Bad break for the Nats. I mean, you got to give a hit on that, don't you?
Yeah.
That thing really came up on Adam LaRoche.
It's a bad hop single, top spin job. Well, look at that last hop. Must have hit a spike mark. Cabrera stays with it nice. Good job by Soriano to get over there and cover.
Phil Gosselin will be the pinch hitter in the number 9 spot. Facing Soriano for the first time. This is what makes the Franzen hit so big now. And he tries to punt his way aboard.
Not a bad idea. Trying to get the tie and run of the plate, and B.J. Upton.
Yeah, guy with power next.
Smart baseball move, just couldn't execute it.
Gosselin 1 for 6 as a pinch hitter. Lifting one to right. I don't think this one can take a bad hop. And Bryce Harper, booed all night, contributes to a winning rally and puts away the last out of the ballgame.
I'll tell you what, they don't get much bigger than it got here tonight. I mean, you wait around all that time, you start the game, it's the wee hours of the night, and you find a way to win it, grinding all the way. And now the Nats leave Atlanta at least 3.5 games up, and they have a chance to leave Atlanta 5.5 games up. Huge, huge win.
Yeah. A character win for the ball club tonight, considering the first few innings last night, and as FP said, a night of waiting, and finally able to get it done in Atlanta, breaking a 5-game losing streak here. We will see.